Now, back to our top story and the repercussions of what is going on, reaching out far and wide, not least in financial markets. Oil prices have risen, as they often do, after that Israeli strike in Iran in the early hours of this morning. Of course, a hit to an oil-producing state in an oil-producing region does tend to spook the oil markets and spark fears of potential broader or continued conflict as well. Let's bring in our business and economics correspondent, Gurpreet Narwan. Afternoon to you, Gurpreet. Just talk us through the way in which the financial markets are responding to what has happened overnight.
Well, it's perhaps unsurprising that the oil price has gone up off the back of this. We often see this response in the oil markets when there's a flare-up in the Middle East. Of course, the question is, how prolonged will this conflict be? How will it escalate? And that will determine what the impact on the financial markets and on the broader global economy will be. So I'll just start with the numbers for you, as you can see there on the screen. Brent Crude, that's the international oil benchmark, that was trading at just under $75 a barrel, up 8%, although it opened up close to 8%, 7.11 now. It's changing all the time, I suppose, but opened up 12%. That was the initial spike, and investors are pouring into safe haven assets, things like US government debt. So bond yields are down, bond prices are up, also the dollar, as well as gold. And then, as you can probably expect, energy stocks are on the up. So Shell, for example, and BP up 2% and 2.1% in Total Energies, and the French company up 2.1%. Airlines are not having a good day because of the travel disruption that's taking place across airspace in the Middle East. Airline stocks are down. So we're talking about kind of the impact on the financial markets. But what about the broader global economy? Well, all of this, when we talk about the oil price, has an impact on consumers here in the UK and in the US, across the world. Because when oil prices go up, I mean, the obvious impact is that there's a quick feed through into petrol prices. But oil goes into the manufacturing process of most of the goods that we consume. So when oil prices go up, that means the cost of goods and services goes up. That means inflation rises. And of course, all of this will probably dampen the likelihood of the Bank of England and the US Federal Reserve being able to cut interest rates over the coming months. But of course, things can change pretty quickly. It all depends on how this escalates. And kind of one of the things that analysts are really looking closely at is the impact on not just oil, it's obviously an oil-producing region, but also the waterways, some of those maritime thoroughfares in the Middle East that are critical for the transportation of oil, but also of container shipping, so goods going to either Asia or into Europe. And we've already seen some supply constraints in that region. So the Houthi rebels, the Yemenis rebels who are backed by Iran, have been causing disruption in the Red Sea, flanked by the Suez Canal, one of the key shipping lanes in the world. Remains to be seen kind of how Iran responds, but they could stir more trouble in that region. And then, of course, the Strait of Hormuz, where I think it's about a quarter of the world's oil trade flows through there. If Iran wanted to take an extreme option, it could block that, which would block cargo ships from collecting oil from nations across the region, whether it's Saudi Arabia or the UAE. Now, it's not to say that any of that's going to happen, but these are the kind of things that analysts are thinking about, and all of that will determine the impact on commodity prices and the impact on the global economy.